Hello, hello. Welcome back to Talk with Sharifa. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Please check out my How I Became a Targeted Individual summary and or full story. And the links to those videos are located in the description box as well as in the comment section. If you're new, please check those videos out before checking out any of my newer content, particularly the targeted individual videos, because you'll be confused with the subject matter if you're not familiar with my story. Even in my Asperger's and ADHD videos, the more recent videos that I've posted, I sometimes refer to some of the things mentioned in my story. So you'll be confused if you're not familiar with my story. I also use targeted individual jargon. So if you're not familiar with the terminology, you'll be lost. So please check out my videos. If you don't have the time to sit down and listen to my full story, you can check out my summary. The summary is kind of long too. So I don't expect you to sit down and watch it in one sitting. I mean, if you can, that'd be cool, but I would understand if you couldn't. But it's more easy to digest. It's 3 hours, it's 2 hours and 42 minutes long. And it's basically my story of how I became targeted in 2020, and it negates the backdrop story. So I kind of mentioned like the backdrop details a little bit, but for the most part, I'm just telling you the story of how I became targeted. So I've been a targeted individual for 3 years. I was targeted in 2020, and I'm still targeted right now. So it's been 3 years. And then the full story, I know that looks overwhelming if you look at it. It's almost 12 hours of content, but it's definitely not meant to be watched in one sitting. It's a 7-part, one video compilation with me telling not only how I became targeted, but I also give my full life story. So the backdrop story as well. You know, I had a decent life growing up, actually a really good life, a blessed life. And then in my 20s, my early 20s, I started to experience a spiritual battle. I mean, I actually felt like somebody might have done, and I know this sounds crazy if you're not into the spiritual, belief system or whatever, if you're somebody that doesn't subscribe to those things. But I do believe some sort of spiritual force or entity has been interfering with me since my early 20s. And if you listen to my full story, you'll hear why I think so. And some of the things that I've dealt with since my early 20s. So please check out my story if you have the time. Check out the summary if you can't check out the full story, just so you can be up to date with what's going on. And in the full story, in the comment section, I wrote some details about my story as well. So you can check that out as well. If you don't have time to sit down and watch either video. But please check out one of them so you can be familiar with my story. The full story, you'll be familiar with everything that I'm talking about in my recent videos. But even if you don't have time to listen to the full story and you just listen to the summary, you'll have a decent enough understanding of what's going on. You'll get the gist of things. And you'll also understand some of the targeted individual jargon that I use in my videos. So please take the time to check it out before checking out my newer content, just so you're familiar with what I'm talking about. I do also give information on this channel. So even if you were to watch some of my videos without knowing my story, you'll still be getting informed, but you'll be lost as it pertains to things that I'm mentioning about myself that I mentioned in prior videos. All right. So now that I said that, guys, this video is actually a continuation of a topic or subject matter that I discussed before as it pertains to being targeted. And I know I said in my recent videos that I'm trying to steer away from the targeted individual content matter. And I still am under that. What am I looking for? What's the word? The ADD's kicking in, guys. It's either that or neuromonitoring. That's a funny joke that's going on right now because I'm having trouble deciphering between the two at this point in my life. But basically, I am trying to steer away from targeted individual content matter. I'm trying to be more positive on this page. As you can see, my banner says, Talk with Sharifa, living with Asperger's and ADD. So I'm trying to make my content matter more about that. Not specifically just Asperger's and ADD. Like I mentioned in my prior videos, this is not a niche channel. So I'm not focusing on any one thing. But there are main topics or subject matter that I'll be discussing more prevalently on this channel. And so for the ADD and Asperger's, rather than just specifically talking about those mental diagnoses, I'm also going to be sharing my life, almost kind of like a vlog in a way, but sharing the life of a woman that's living with those two mental disorders. And so that's more so what my subject matter will be about. It can be about anything really. I'll be giving career updates, career advice, talking about my journey of trying to become a developer, also trying to get back into teaching, um, just trying to navigate through life as a targeted individual. I keep saying I'm praying this doesn't last forever, but at the moment I am still targeted. So trying to navigate through that, just different things of that nature, hobbies, just different updates, just my life is what this channel is going to be about. And so I'll be sharing a plethora of different things. There's no specific subject matter that I'm going to focus on, but it will be under the scope of a woman living with the life of ADD and Asperger's. And so you'll be seeing, I guess, through my lens. And I'll also be sharing things like health tips. I'm into holistic health. I talked about that. I haven't really been keeping up with it as much as I would like to, just because financially right now I am struggling. But typically I like to eat healthy. I'm into holistic foods, healing the body with herbs, things of that nature. So I will be talking about those things, how you can detox the body, clean it out from chemicals, things like chemtrails and glyphosates being sprayed on the crops, et cetera, how you can clean those things out of the body. And just health tips, holistic health tips, even with nanobots. There's nano in everyone, not even just targets. Nanotechnology is very prevalent in this day and age. So it's in everyone. It's in the food. So just even that, I will be making or creating videos on how you can clean that out of the body as well. Natural hair videos, just different things you can look forward to seeing on this channel. Anyways, I am trying to, like I said, because I did kind of go off on a tangent, steer away from the targeted individual subject matter. And I told you all the only time that I will be posting about that subject matter will be if I'm documenting. And so this is, I guess, what you could call this video. This is another documentation video. And it's a piggyback off of two videos that I've posted already. So I'm going to scroll down to those videos. So it's a piggyback off of, or rather than a piggyback off of, it is kind of a piggyback off of, but it's more so a continuation of my parts 1 and 2, more evidence to disprove new allegations against me. Because if you're familiar with my story, and then you checked out afterwards my false allegations video that says disproving new allegations against me, you'll have heard me say that my story or my targeting started from sending a text message. There's way more to it than that. You really have to listen to my story to hear the gist of things. But just to cut things short and make things simple, my targeting started because I sent a text message. And so what developed from sending that text message is insane. It created this insane, crazy situation for me. And I believe a lot of it stems from bearing false witness. I think that's what the punishment is right now. But it just feels like overdue, because there are so many people that lie maliciously that don't go through what I'm going through, or bear false witness and aren't experiencing what I'm experiencing. So it's hard for me. I understand it's one of the 10 commandments, by the way. I just recently was looking into that, but still, I don't understand how it could be this severe. It just to me, it just feels astronomically strange, some of the things I've experienced. And to just say that it's bearing false witness that's causing this, I'm having a hard time believing that it could be this severe, the punishment. I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time believing that. I actually feel like something spiritual is going on as well. And so I think it's a combination of things that created this astronomically strange spiritual battle that I've been going through since my early 20s. I really do. But anyways, if you listen to my full story, you'll hear why I felt like or feel like something spiritual is at play. And so in that belief system, I've been saying it since last December. I've been saying it since my early 20s, actually. I had this experience with a roommate of mine that ended adversely. And afterwards, I was under the suspicion. I didn't accuse her outright, but I did suspect that she may have done witchcraft on my older sister and I, because we were in our early 20s. And if you listen to my story, you'll hear the events that preceded my spiritual battle and why I think so. We even found her dirty underwear on top of my sister's toilet. So all of these things, in addition to some of the things that was happening within that friendship when we lived together, is why I suspected that. Again, not outright accusing her. It was just a suspicion I just suspected. So anyways, I said that in my story, and in December, I was my initial parts one and two, how I became a targeted individual videos. I talked about that. Those videos got deleted. Check out my update video, not the important update one. Let me scroll down and show you guys. For those of you that are subscribed, you know what I'm talking about. But this is more so for people that might not be familiar. And also, too, you can be subscribed to someone and not be familiar with all of their content matter. I'm not egotistical or crazy enough to think that all of my subscribers are following my every video. So this is why I say the things that I say, so that if you haven't been keeping up with my videos, you'll know what's going on. But anyways, if you check out this update video that was posted a month ago that says update, new vids coming soon, you'll hear me discussing why my prior content matter got deleted. Because for those of you that have been subscribed, I'm sure you saw the videos where I was on camera. I had way more videos with me on camera. Now the only video on camera is literally my 12-hour full story. Every other video right now is off camera until I can access a better quality camera. But I wanted to make sure that when I was telling my full story, that I was on camera. So I utilized the computer that I have access to. And although the camera is really poor quality, I still decided to use it. So you can see the quality difference, right? That thumbnail for my summary, how I became a targeted individual summary, that's the quality of the camera that I was using before. And that computer got confiscated. That wasn't my computer. And that's how my prior videos got deleted. I had way more videos up with me on camera, and it was a good quality camera. But when that computer got confiscated, again, like I said, I was forced to utilize my old laptop from college. And so the camera quality is terrible. You can see the difference. You can see the thumbnail for my summary, and then you can see the thumbnail for my full story where I'm actually on camera. That's the camera quality difference. And so I decided to not make videos on camera. Aside from that one video, I decided to not make videos on camera until I can get access to a better quality camera. So basically, that's what's going on right now. This is why you're not seeing me on video like you were before. For those of you that have been subscribed, if you're new, then you're just looking at it as me being somebody that doesn't come on camera often. But that's not the case. I actually used to come on camera for most of my videos. And I will in the future if the Most High spares my life, and I get access to a better camera. But for now, things are off camera. But anyways, not trying to go off on a tangent, my videos did get deleted when that computer was confiscated. And so my initial parts 1 and 2, how I became a targeted individual videos, were actually posted last December 2022. And in that video, you can hear me saying basically the same things that I'm saying in the full story that I have posted now. The video wasn't as long. It was a 2-part video. It was about 5 hours of content. One was 3 hours long. The other one was 2 hours long. But in this newer video, the reason you're seeing 12 hours of content is because not only did I tell my full story, but then I also started to include newer things that have transpired in my targeting, and then also details that I realized I left out. If I really were to sit here and tell you my whole story, it would probably be days and days of content. So I tried to condense it as best as I could. And the best that I could do was 12 hours. So it's like a night full of content. So if you're somebody that works at night, which a lot of targets do, and you're interested in hearing my story, you can sit there and listen to my story. It's interesting. It really is. I've been through a lot. A lot of weird stuff has happened. Anyway, so that's my story. And in that story, the story that I have posted now, the 12 hours of content, I talk about that roommate and why I felt like something spiritual was at play. And then I also talked about it in those 2 prior videos that got deleted, where I told my full story. And those videos were posted last December, just so you know. So I've been saying for months that I felt like something spiritual was at play and that it might have tied back to this roommate, or at least somebody in my life from around my early 20s, because that was when my spiritual battle started. But it just turned into this weird thing. And also, just so you know, I've been saying this for years. I have to keep reiterating that this is nothing new that I'm saying. It's not like now I'm in hot water and so I'm trying to throw it on somebody. Ask anyone in my close circle, and of course you can't. You don't know the people in my close circle, but I'm just saying, they know that I've been saying since my early 20s, when things started getting weird for me, that I felt like something spiritual was at play. And I wasn't in any trouble then. It was just literally weird situations that I couldn't explain and people turning against me and stuff like that. But it wasn't anything like this, like being a target. This is a whole different level of whatever, And so even back then I was saying that I felt like something spiritual was at play. So this is nothing new. It's not something new I'm saying just to pin my problems on someone. I've literally been saying it for years. And not accusing her either. Again, not saying she did this, but just speculating it could have been her or somebody in my life around that time. But I felt like something spiritual was at play. So anyways, I said that. And the way that this program works, I'm sure if you're targeted, I see a lot of targets talking about that like it's a smear campaign in a way, and I'm trying not to be negative, but that is literally what happens when you get targeted. It's kind of like everything you do from that point on gets speculated. You're under a super microscope, and oftentimes what you do can get vilified. And so this is what I've been dealing with as a target. And so it's like I feel like I'm constantly on the edge of my seat trying to explain myself and on eggshells. And it's like it feels like more and more allegations keep popping up. I'm terrified to think of what's going to pop up next. I really don't know. And I don't want to, it's terrifying to think about it. But more has transpired since the text, and there are new allegations against me. And so basically, after accusing this roommate of doing witchcraft, or not accusing, excuse me, speculating and saying it in my videos, I also went and downloaded a return to sender book. So basically, around the time when I tried to relocate off of this island, at the time I didn't realize I was a target. Let me remind you guys, I've been targeted since 2020. I stayed on island for 2 years. I was teaching as an English teacher. Stayed down here for 2 years. I was teaching virtually for a year and a half. And then for the latter half a year, the latter part of my 2-year teaching stint, I was in the building because coronavirus was happening. So it was kind of like, and I hate to say this because this might sound insensitive, and I totally hated COVID. I had it twice and it's nothing to play with. So I wasn't glad for COVID, but in a way it was a blessing. The quarantine, at least, was a blessing in disguise for me just because of what was going on with my targeting, because I had sent the text and created this weird situation for myself. And so in a way, it was a blessing in disguise for me because I am already introverted. I have Asperger's and I have ADD. I'm extremely introverted, always have been. But I've been teaching for years. So I've learned how to force myself to push past the awkwardness and get in front of a classroom and teach. I know how to do it because I've been doing it for years. So I've had years and years of practice. And it's still nerve-wracking for me, but I can do it. But then when the targeting started, I don't want to say too much, because I'm trying not to be negative, but I was aware of the fact that I was being surveilled. That's just how the program works. And at the school that I was working at, they were very kind to me. One of the best teaching experiences I've ever had. They were very kind to me. It was never a thing where they were being unkind to me or unprofessional, nothing like that. It was literally just that this program was happening. And as a target, no matter where you work, no matter where you go, it's not the people around you. It's really just a program thing. Once you're in this program, you are going to be surveilled. That's just how it works. And really, the people around you don't have a choice in the matter. Really, they're just cooperating with the government at that point. So that's what was going on. I was being surveilled. I wasn't familiar with the mosquito drones or anything like that. But around that time, I did have my own apartment, and I came to the realization that I was being watched on camera. So in my classroom, I would sometimes hear the bird drones. And if you're not familiar with what that is, you have to listen to my story. I did talk about that. I'm actually not trying to go into too much details about the technology used in the program, just because it did start to get me in trouble saying certain things. And this is why I'm also trying to just steer away from that subject matter altogether. But they do have bird drones, and I'm sure targets, you all know what I'm talking about. I'm sure you guys have heard the bird sounds being utilized on you as a target. It's used in this program on targets. So whether you knew or not, they're using bird drones. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to go any further than that. But sometimes I would hear that by my classroom window. And obviously, it's hard to decipher the difference. This is why it's called psychological warfare, because it is sometimes hard to decipher whether or not you're hearing a real bird or a bird drone, and this is why this program is so efficient, because they use everyday sounds and everyday noises to kind of mess with your mind in a way, because you never know if you're really hearing a real bird or if you're hearing a drone. So I don't want to bear false witness, but I can tell the difference between the sound of the birds. Typically, I can tell. And it did sound like a bird drone by my window. And so again, I know that the people at the school had nothing to do with that. I know, again, it's just a program thing. So no matter where I went, because like I said, I did try to relocate off island and it followed me. Wherever you go, once you're in this program, it follows you. So it's like you can't really get mad at the people around you, at least not the people that you're working with. I mean, some people can be malicious with it, But that wasn't the case at the school that I worked at. None of them were rude to me. None of them treated me bad. They were actually very kind to me, very professional. But the program was still happening and I was aware of it. And as somebody with ADD and Asperger's, I'm always keenly aware of my surroundings, anyways. I always feel like I'm being watched, anyways, and not in a paranoid way, but in an antisocial, socially awkward, social anxiety kind of way. So over the years, I had to learn to cope with that feeling. And it took a long time for me to get okay with that and to be able to push myself in front of a classroom and teach. But then when I knew I was also being surveilled, that was when it was too overwhelming for me. It felt that way, at least. At this point now, I'm so used to it. It's not really something you can get used to, but you do at a certain point get desensitized. So it's like, it's not something that you ever really totally get used to, being surveilled 24/7. You never get used to that. You do get desensitized after a while and learn how to function with it. Even if you're somebody that's extremely awkward, you learn how to function with it. And so that's the point I'm at right now, to the point where I think I could go and not even think, I know that I could go in front of a classroom and teach and still deal with knowing that I'm being surveilled or watched. To me at this point, it's just like I'm training myself to understand that it's just the same difference as my students watching me. The people watching me on camera, I'm being watched anyways by many eyes when I'm in front of a classroom. So it's the same difference. And so that's how I'm training myself to deal with it and to work with what's happening. But that's what was going on at the time. So I did try to relocate off island. So I taught for a year and a half virtually. That worked perfectly for me. And then when I got back to the building, at the time, again, I wasn't used to being surveilled. I had just kind of started realizing I was being watched on camera. I knew something weird was going on. I didn't know I was a target just yet, but I knew something was going on because of the text message I had sent. So I knew something was happening. And so when I went back into the building for that half a year, I had a terrible performance. I felt awkward. I started missing work. I was calling out or I was coming late. Just horrible, terrible performance in comparison to the performance I had when we were virtual. And so I felt like I was doing the students a disservice and I felt like I was doing myself a disservice. And I felt like if I tried to relocate off island, that I could start over. I felt like this was just a text message thing and they're just, again, punishing me for bearing false witness. It resembled the cyber stalking, cyberbullying situation I dealt with in my 20s, but like on a way, way more massive scale and level. And so I still in my head just felt like if I leave and relocate, I can start over, again, not knowing that this was a program that would follow me. So anyways, I'm kind of sitting here retelling the story and that's not what I wanted to do. I didn't even want this video to be too long. But long story short, I relocated, realized that it followed me, came back home last year around, so I left, I resigned from my teaching job July of last year, 2022. Then in June, I believe it was, I left and tried to relocate to Indiana. The targeting followed me. Certain circumstances happened where I had some egregious reactions and several things, about 3 things happened that caused my targeting to go viral. Horrible reactions, kind of reactive abuse, me reacting to what was happening to me and me not understanding why it was happening or why things had gotten to the level that it did. I had these horrible reactions. And so it propelled my targeting, made it much worse. And my targeting actually went viral. So I came back home. Long story short, I'm back in the islands now. So if you're familiar with my videos, you know that this is the case. If you're somebody that's been following me throughout my journey, you know that that's what's going on. And so basically, because I feel like I'm going off on a tangent and I'm trying to circle back to the main point here. So basically when I got back on island, which was, I think it was like around August or November of last year, I started to really heavily look into witchcraft stuff because I really at that point for sure felt like witchcraft was on me. And I was feeling desperate at that point because I couldn't understand how this serious of a punishment was happening and all these crazy things. If you listen to my story, you'll hear all the crazy things I experienced when I tried to relocate. I was like, how is this happening to me from sending a text message? And so I was like, there's no way that this is normal. This is spiritual. I said some sort of witchcraft is on me. I was like, for sure. I already felt that way for years. But then when this happened, I was like, nah, there's no way you're telling me different. Something is on me is how I felt. And so I remember around that time, before I created my story, I was looking into witchcraft stuff. I started looking into videos talking about how to know if you have witchcraft on you, symptoms and signs of witchcraft, Just one set of stuff I was looking into, not ever feeling like the accusation would turn around on me. So I didn't have that fear back then. I couldn't have even fathomed. I couldn't even fathomed I would have been accused of some of the things I was being accused of prior to these accusations. So, anyways, I was just looking into the stuff heavily because I felt like it was on me. And I wasn't thinking in my head, okay, you're a target. They vilify everything you do or villainize everything you do. This is something that can now be turned around and used against you. I wasn't thinking like that. I'm more so just thinking something's on me. Nobody's listening. I need to get it off. And I was praying, and again, lack of faith. I talked about this in my prayer videos. I lost faith. And I just felt like, okay, the Most High is not stepping in. He knows I'm innocent, but he's not stepping in. Let me see what else I can look into. And I know that sounds terrible, but I'm just being real with you and candid. That's how I felt. So I started looking into a bunch of different things. And I basically in my part 1 and part 2 video that I made in December, I mentioned the fact that, like I said, I felt like witchcraft was on me. And towards the end of that video, for those of you that viewed it, you know what I'm talking about. I said that I was planning to download. I said it on camera. So this is not anything I was trying to hide. I was very open with what I was doing because I just felt like no one was listening. And I needed to figure out how I could get whatever it is what that was on me off of me. And so towards the end of that video, I did say that I was going to be downloading a Return to Sender book. And for those of you that are not familiar with what that is, it's basically a book. If you feel like someone did witchcraft on you, it's a book that has spells in it. And this is so terrible, but I'm just being real and candid with you of how desperate I was after what I encountered in Florida and Indiana. I had never heard about this thing before. And again, I didn't even know I was a target yet. I'm just like, how the heck am I being chased like a most wanted criminal? And not only just by, let's just say, helicopters and police cars, but then civilians, all of the cars on the road around me. You don't understand. You know how thick traffic is in the States? Most of y'all are in the mainland anyway, you targets. So you know what I'm talking about. You know how the traffic on the freeway is thick? I'm one of the most heavily targeted targets I've ever encountered, my own self. Because I see other targeted videos and I see people being followed by cars, but it's not every car in the road. My targeting was so bad in the States because of my egregious reactions, and again, just reactive abuse. The things that made my targeting go viral, it was so bad that every car in the road was involved in my targeting. So it's not like I was just being followed by cops and helicopters. I was being followed by civilians, all of them in cars, zooming rev campaigns, zooming by me, all kinds of crazy stuff. And so when I came home, I was just certain that something was on me. I'm like, there's no way. I've never even seen Ted Bundy or criminals like that being chased down the way I was being chased down. You don't even understand. And to have never committed a crime, don't have a history of violence, and to have gone through something like that, you're thinking something is on you. You're thinking, what the hell is this? I need to figure it out. And so this is where my mind was at the time, not thinking clearly. I was very skinny. I had lost weight. I wasn't eating well when I was in Florida because I was being heavily gang stalked. My face was broken out. I had black stuff all over my face. I was in a very bad state when I came home. So anyways, I downloaded the Return to Sender book, just thinking that witchcraft was on me. I even followed this lady or this girl named Nikisha Wise, and I showed those emails in my part 1 video as evidence to show that I was the one who was saying the witchcraft thing initially, which of course the gang stalkers know that. But still, the fact that the allegations got turned around on me, I'm just like, huh? When I was the one who was looking into this stuff first and very openly too, to the point where I was emailing this girl. I emailed her my whole story, this girl named Nikisha Wise, because her story sounded similar to mine. And so I emailed her. I was under all of her videos. She's a Christian and she was giving advice about how to get witchcraft off of you and also how to know if it's on you. A lot of the stuff that I learned about it was from her videos. And so I was under all her videos like a maniac, commenting, and, I got her email address and I emailed her. And so I showed the email between she and I. Hold on, let me turn the camera back on. Let me see how long the video is because this is too much talking. Okay, let me try and hurry up now. Too much talking. But I showed the email between she and I in the part 1, more evidence to disprove new allegations against me. I showed the email that I sent to her all the way back in November, where I told her my whole story, all of the things that I said in my videos before I had ever created targeted individual videos on YouTube. My first uploading of a targeted individual video or videos was my initial parts 1 and 2, how I became targeted full story that got deleted, which was uploaded in December 2022. I was writing Nikisha since November. Before I had ever even considered making videos, I was writing Nikisha. I don't even think I knew I was a target at the time when I emailed Nikisha. I didn't find out about the targeted individual program until December. And that was what made me decide to start making videos because I saw other people sharing their account of being targeted on YouTube. And I was like, okay, I need to do so as well. I'm articulate. I can tell my story and this is how I can be heard. This is what I was thinking and this is what made me create my videos. That and the fact that I did get the initial sting. I'm not going to go into details about that. I'm not going to talk too much about that, but I'm not going to go into that. I'm going to just declare that I talked about it in my full story anyways, but I'm still trying to stay away from certain content matter. But the initial sting on my finger, from the mosquito drone, that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say anything more on that. I had gotten that sting and I had already started looking into that stuff and seeing what's used on targets. And I was like, oh my God, I said, it's going this far? Because I sent a text message. I said, what? So this is what prompted me to get on camera and make the video. I found out that I was a target. So from since 2020, I had been experiencing this weird phenomenon and I didn't know what it was called. And so now finding this community and realizing that this was a thing and I wasn't the only one going through it, that's what made me start making the content. And then also that initial sting that I got on my index finger. Those were the two motivating factors that made me create my first parts 1 and 2, how I became targeted videos. Anyway, so I was desperate in those times and I downloaded a return to sender book. So basically that's a spell book, but it's not a spell book to put a spell on anyone. It's literally white magic. And I'm mad that I know this information so well, but it's because I thought it was on me. So I was looking into that stuff heavily. And I saw that black magic is when somebody puts magic on someone to hurt them. White magic is when you do magic to get magic off of you. So it's magic that's not used maliciously. But all magic, in my opinion, and again, I don't want to push my belief system on anyone. So if that's your spirituality and your practice, that's fine. I would just ask that you don't bring it around me, but I'm not judging you. I've definitely learned my lesson about pushing my beliefs or my perceptions on people. So I'm not trying to do that or tell you how to live. But from my perception, I know to stay away from those things. But at the time, I was just like, nah, something's on me. I need to get it off of me. And so anyway, black magic is when you do something to hurt someone. White magic is more so using magic to protect yourself or to get black magic off of you, from my understanding. I could be saying the wrong thing. This is just from the research that I had done in that time. So anyways, I downloaded the Return to Sender book, which is considered white magic, where you're basically, if you do it, I didn't do it, I just read the book, but you're basically doing a spell or a ritual. It's not just a spell, it's a whole ritual that has to be done. This is what the book was telling me, and this is why I was like, hell to the no, because in the beginning of the book, it even said that if you deal with this stuff and you don't know what you're doing, you can accidentally put something on yourself. And the lady who wrote the book was talking about her early years in her early 20s when she had dabbled with that stuff and she put a demon on herself by accident. And the only reason she found out that the demon was on her was when she was reading another spell book and she realized that she had put a demon on herself. And so this is something that can happen when you dabble in that type of stuff. So that's why I never dabbled in that stuff. I knew to stay away from that stuff. But you have to understand, I was so desperate after coming back from what I dealt with in the States. I wouldn't say that I was willing to do anything, but I was darn near close willing to look into just about anything at that point, because I was like, what is going on? This is something, I feel like magic is on me. I'm saying my prayers. I'm not getting heard. It's getting worse. It's now to the point where I've been bitten by a mosquito drone and I haven't done anything. I got to do something. That's how I felt at the time. So I read the Return to Sender book. The very beginning of the book told me that, basically that you can put something on yourself by accident. And so I was like, hell to the no. And then also, too, I was seeing the rituals and it was looking creepy to me. I thought it was going to be some simple read a spell thing and, return the thing back, whatever it is that I felt was on me. But then I was looking at the thing and I'm seeing it's all kind of rituals that have to be done. It was really scary looking stuff. I was like, no, I'm not doing this. So I read the whole book, stupid me, because that alone could have put something on me. Excuse me for the poor grammar. But that in and of itself could have put something on me or something more than what I think is already on me, or made it work, actually. Because from doing my research, I saw that when you actually believe in the shit, a lot of the stuff that I was looking up was saying that. They kept saying, just don't believe in it. When you believe in it, that's when it can work on you. And so I saw that several times and I didn't take heed. I still felt like, well, it's happening, so I need to do something. This is how I felt, stupid, and not taking heed. So anyways, read the book. I knew to myself I wasn't going to do any of the stuff in the book from the time I read the very beginning, where the lady was saying you could put something on yourself by accident when you mess with that stuff. I was like, I'm not dealing with this. I'm not doing it. But still, out of curiosity, I read the book to see what would be in there. I read the whole thing, and I've already confessed and repented for it. But I read the whole book, and I'm an avid reader. So I can read through a book in 2 to 3 hours. I love reading. And so I read the book very quickly and then I deleted it. So I believe that was what they used to say that I did witchcraft. They basically turned the allegations around on me and basically started making it like I was some doing like basically what somebody in my close circle said to me directly. So it's not just assumption. I was told this directly. She felt like I was saying evil prayers against the people in my close circle. And so I remember that offending me so much because I was just like, what is this now? Another new allegation. I already felt like so much I don't want to go into it too much. I'm not trying to be negative, but I already felt like so much had been done to me off of a misunderstanding. I understand initially I was the one who was wrong for sending the text message, but the level it got taken to is where I felt like was wrong. I felt like this was overdue with the punishment and all these people didn't need to be involved. Over a text message, I didn't understand that. And so this is why I felt so betrayed that it went this far to the point where, anyway, I'm not going to go into the details. But then now for it to be that you're saying that, and it's just like you didn't even validate or listen to me saying that I felt like something was on me, but you believe I have the capability to, because for years, understand this, for years I've been telling the people in my close circle that I felt like something was on me, and all they would ever do was brush me off and tell me I need to pray. Mind you, when we first had moved out, my sister and I, my older sister and I, from living with that roommate, we were all under the suspicion that she might have done something. Because like I said, her dirty underwear was on top of my sister's toilet, and my sister had gotten really sick. And we kept going to the doctor and couldn't find nothing wrong with her. And then as soon as we left and started going to church and praying and changing our diet, we got into like, not vegan, but kind of like a vegan-like diet. We were eating meat, but we were eating like grass-fed meat, non-GMO organic meat, holistic type of things, non-GMO foods, all of that type of stuff. We were really health conscious. We got really health conscious. And then we were also going to church. And my sister got better. And it was as soon as we moved out from this roommate, So it was just like a lot of weird stuff. And then a lot of coincidences, if you listen to my full story, a lot of coincidences in my spiritual battle that kind of correlated to some of the things that my roommate was experiencing when she and I were living together. It could just be a major coincidence. It could be synchronicity. The true definition of synchronicity, unrelated coincidences. But I'm at this point in my life where I don't even know if synchronicity is truly a real thing. They have it in the dictionary, but I don't know if that's really a real thing or just a misconception. I don't know that there can be coincidences that aren't correlated. I don't know that that can be a thing. But that's what synchronicity is. And it could truly be that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe all of these things that I connected to her and I thought she was doing this and that, maybe it was all just sheer coincidence. And I was majorly bearing false witness for assuming that she did this. I don't know. But it's just really weird. And it's like the level of astronomically strange things that have occurred in my life all the way through and through. It's just weird to me. It just seems spiritual. It's not even like your everyday tragedy type of thing. I could see if I was just having a lot of tragic things happening to me, but it was still in the realm of normal, then I'd be like, okay, maybe I'm reaching, maybe I'm, synchronicity, maybe I'm reaching. But it's like astronomically strange things that have been happening, and a lot of it resembles what happened to her within our friendship or our stint living together, whatever, So this is why I felt that way. But anyway, so because I don't want this video to be too long, I read the return to sender, deleted it. What else did I do? I also I started looking into astrology. So I talked about that. I talked about the things that I did in my part 1 disproving new allegations against me video, and also my false allegations. So in this part 1 video, I talked about it. Excuse me. Sorry, it's loading. So in this part 1 video, I talked about it. And then I also talked about it in this false allegations video. The reasons why they were saying that I did witchcraft. But it was basically them turning around what I had said on me. And they started doing that like with almost everything that I said. Even talking about the thief thing. I was talking about the fact that, I don't want to go into the details of it, but a lot of the things that I said, they kind of turned it around and started accusing me of it. It was the craziest, weirdest thing ever that started happening. But anyway, so that's why I created these 2 videos. And I was even showing the emails between Nikisha and I, where I told her my whole story, everything that I said in my videos. It can be corroborated in these emails. If you check out these videos, the part 1 video, you can see that I was emailing Nikisha those same things in November. And so I was the one initially saying these things. And I even told Nikisha that in our private emails, I even emailed her my whole story, the same things that I said in my videos. And so that was the documentation in that video. The part 2 video, I kind of went into more detail about those things, and I also shared other things that I had learned. And also in the part 1 video, I talked about how I started looking into astrology, because that was the other thing I did. So it was not just downloading the Return to Center. The other thing I did was I started looking into astrology. That's right. And I discussed it in that part 1 video. This one, I discussed me looking into astrology, but I didn't really show emails about that. I just showed the emails between Nikisha Wise and I in November of last year, where I was telling her my story and asking her for her spiritualist, because she has a Christian lady that has a prophetic gift. So she doesn't use divination or anything like that to read you. She basically just has a gift ordained from the Most High, according to her. This is what she says. And she only uses the Bible to clean witchcraft off of people. You know, she's not like some people that you go to that deal in that stuff, that say they can move it off of you. She literally just deals with the Bible. You can see that in these emails. So if you check out that part 1 video, you'll see me sharing those emails. It corroborates everything that I said in my story. But I also talked about, towards the end of the video, astrology, how I started looking into astrology as well. And I talked about the fact that a fellow target that I follow, her boyfriend or her friend, I'm not sure what he was to her, in a video, the two of them were discussing the birth chart and how he was able to read her birth chart and see why she became targeted. So remember, I told you I wasn't having faith back then. I already downloaded Return to Sender and read it. So looking into astrology was right up my alley at that time. And so when she was saying, oh, she saw why she was a target and he saw this and that in her birth chart and, whatever, I was like, wait a minute, maybe I can see what's going on with me. Why I've been going through stuff since my early 20s. Maybe it's in my birth chart. And so I remember emailing him, because she did put the contact information for him, and she said that he does readings. And I emailed him, and I talked about this in the part 1 video as well, my Disproving New Allegations Against Me video. I talked about it, but I didn't show the emails. I only showed the emails between Nikisha Wise and myself from November. But I didn't show the emails about the astrology, where I emailed this guy that was, I think, the boyfriend of the target that I was watching at the time, where he was basically emailing back and forth with me. We were in correspondence about him reading my birth chart. But he charged too much money, and I didn't have, obviously I was broke as a target. I wasn't working at the time. I didn't have the money to pay him. And so basically, me being me, I like to read anyways and learn things. I said I can teach myself how to read the birth chart. And so that's what I did. I taught myself how to read the birth chart, and I read my birth chart. And that was where I saw that this big Saturn return was supposed to be happening, literally at the time when I got targeted. So I got targeted at age 28, literally after I graduated from college. I had a late graduation. I talked about that in my full story, so please listen. But around that time is when I got targeted, age 28. And so in my birth chart, there was literally this Saturn return that happened at age 28. And it said this big life-changing event was supposed to be happening. And, it was supposed to last until my 31st birthday. I'm 31 right now, by the way. And how it was supposed to teach me a life-changing lesson. And if I didn't learn the lesson in time, then I would be in darkness for the rest of my life. So it was very morbid. I almost said I wanted to look it up, because I'm into visual evidence, because I'm a visual learner. I realized that sometimes saying stuff and letting people hear it isn't good enough. And even if people are auditory learners and they can learn from what you said, I just noticed showing people things helps more than just saying it. So this is why I like to document and show what I'm talking about. But then I was thinking to myself, damn, should I look up the birth chart and literally show them the Saturn return? You know what I'm talking about, and show them what was said? But I said I don't want to dabble with that stuff, so I'm not going to look into it. I'm not going to look it up. I was very close to looking it up and showing the message. But literally anyone that wanted to look it up could. They have my birthday. They could look it up and validate what I'm saying, see that what I'm saying is correct, that there was some sort of Saturn return at age 28 that occurred, that was supposed to be this life-altering thing that was supposed to teach me a lesson. And if I didn't learn the lesson, I think they said by age 31, something like that I would be in darkness for the rest of my life. Now, of course, I don't subscribe to that. At the time, it made so much sense to me because I was looking for answers. And Satan likes to creep in at the wrong time or the right time, depending on how you look at it, when you're at your lowest or at your weakest moment. But that's what was happening just then. The message felt like it came right on time. It lined up with what I was going through. But if I'm thinking about it realistically, that doesn't make sense, because I've been, like I said, in a spiritual battle since my early 20s. So how could it be that this life lesson came at 28? I mean, yes, I became a target then, but what about my early 20s? So that doesn't make sense unless it was the same lesson, and it's now just turned into this. I don't know. But at the time, it made sense to me, and at this point now I know astrology. And even then, I knew it wasn't good. I know what the Bible says about that divination. So I know it's not good. But at the time, it made so much sense to me. And so I was like, oh my gosh, that's the answer. That's the answer. Okay, so it's a Saturn return. It's a lesson I'm supposed to learn, blah, blah, blah. So I felt like it was bearing false witness was my lesson that I was supposed to learn. And if I didn't learn, I'd be in darkness forever. This is what I was thinking at the time. So I was just like, okay, so this is the answer, blah, 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 blah. But nonetheless, I was looking into astrology. And so I wanted to show y'all those emails between the guy and I. His name was Lamar, because I talked about it in my part 1 video, but I didn't show the emails because I'm talking so much, but I felt like I needed to give y'all the backdrop since those videos were posted a while ago before I showed y'all the evidence. So let me hurry up and show y'all because this video is getting to be too long. But I wanted to show you the emails between Lamar and I, where we were discussing a birth chart, just so you can see visually what I'm talking about, and the fact that with the astrology thing, I did look into the birth chart, and these are things that I said, I admit everything that I've done. Whenever I've done something fly, I have no problem admitting it. So that's what I think the irony of this program is. It's like, I'm so freaking honest, it's to a detriment. It's to the point where my honesty keeps making me basically put my foot in my mouth. So for me to be in this program and to be like this thing where they kind of keep trying to paint this narrative of liar, it couldn't be further from the truth. I'm actually so honest that it's to a fault. But anyways, let me show y'all. I'm just an awkward person and I know I'm being stared at. Anyway, so let me show y'all the email with Lamar. Hold on, that's the other email I wanted to show you guys. That's something else I'm going to show you. First of all, let me see the time because I don't want this video to be too long. Damn, 45 minutes. When I just looked, it said 28 minutes. I'm telling you, this is how the time flies. Let me hurry up. I don't want this video to be too long. The time flies when I'm doing these videos. Anyway, so his name was Lamar. I don't mean to give y'all the man's full government name, but I just want to show y'all the email. So I reached out initially, and this is what's his response. He said, "Greetings. Thank you for reaching out. But he said, "Greetings. Thanks for reaching out. One thing I noticed that most people that goes through these things happening in their life usually have similar placements." So he's talking about the birth chart in their charts. You as a Capricorn, it's already tough or rough. I understand. The birth chart is your personal instruction manual to your soul. I went to private school as well. Your life, everything is as it should be. It's just when you don't know that, it's a lot worse and there is more pain but no learning. I would be more than happy to help. I will need your time of birth and the location of your birth. All of these things add to your purpose. I have many appointments, but since you are Michelle's Connect, and Michelle is the target that I follow, I will try to squeeze you in. It will take me roughly 2 to 3 weeks to put your info, it's a lot low, together, and it will be a 2 to 4 hour conversation along with a printout for you to keep and study. My services are $150, $25 deposit. I accept Cash App and PayPal if you are ready to take this journey. Message back when you can, and I will lock you in. Namaste. All things will be okay. And so I didn't answer him. I had a lot going on at the time, and from the time I saw 150, I was looking into other avenues because I don't have cash. So I was looking into free ways to figure this thing out, right? And so at that point, I was like, okay, I'm going to learn this thing myself. I like to teach myself things anyways. I was like, I will learn how to read it myself. And so I did. But regardless, I didn't answer him. And not maliciously either. You could really say it's the ADD. It doesn't take much for me to forget stuff, I move on to the next thing. And at the time I was just desperately looking into things. And so when I saw that he said 150, even the $25 was too much at the time. I was broke. So then he emailed me again. Hold on one second. He said, "Greetings. I wrote you back earlier. Did you get my message? Lamar." And so then I said, "Good morning. Yes, I did. Sorry for the late response. I am currently unemployed and cannot afford the rate you are charging. I have been doing my research and discovered that my first Saturn return," because at this time I had taught myself how to read the birth chart. So I already figured out what was going on. So I said, "I have been doing my research and discovered that my first Saturn return started at the end of 2020, which explains a lot of what I've been experiencing or what I have been experiencing for the last few years. The return was seated in my 11th house, so it makes perfect sense. I still do not understand the other trials I have gone through dating back to my early 20s, but I am still exploring. Also, I am not quite sure why my return has been so extreme to the point where I am facing a false accusation, but I am still doing my research. I still suspect black magic is at play, and if that is the case, I do not want to give it any more power." I'm noticing I'm missing quite a few commas here, guys, but that's fine. Anyways, I think my own belief in it has allowed it to wreak havoc in my life. Thank you for reaching out. It is gratefully appreciated. Regards, Sharifa. So that's what I said to him. I mean, he didn't respond after that. So the other thing I want to quickly show you guys and then close the video off because it's getting to be too long. You know, in my prior videos, I don't remember if it was videos that got deleted or if it was the videos that I've created after my update video, my newer videos, my recreation of my deleted videos. But I did mention the fact that I had also around that time reached out to 2 psychics via email, of course. And so I reached out and I sent them a picture of me so they could do a reading. And so I just wanted to read to you all what they said to me, the 2 psychics. And these are the things that I did. So I can admit where I was flawed, but I've never done witchcraft in my life, at least not intentionally. From what I understand, owning crystals is white magic. So me owning the obsidian and me owning the tourmaline, and by the way, I didn't own that when I had the return to sender book. I had ordered those things before I even tried to relocate off island because I realized something spiritual was going on. I didn't even know how bad it was going to get. But I had ordered those 2 crystals, and I remember having a discussion with my older sister about it because I was asking her if crystals were bad. And she was telling me, yes, they are. She was like, if you're using it for spiritual purposes. She said, if you use it like how we use it, like amethyst, to protect yourself from radiation, it's not bad. But she was telling me if I'm using it for spiritual purposes, that's when it's bad. So I started arguing her down, and I went and found Bible verses about Aaron and his breastplate, you know, and how he had the breastplate that was full of gemstones. You know, and so we were arguing back and forth about that. And I decided to still get the crystals, you know, because I was seeing that they had spiritual benefits. And that not only can they physically help you, you know, like grounding, you know, how the earth has an electrical charge that can oxidate the body. And then also these stones can protect you, like I said, from radiation. So they have physical benefits. But then when I saw that the added benefit, stupid me, again, not knowing it was white magic, but that there could possibly be an added spiritual benefit. And I was feeling desperate, not as desperate as I felt after I tried to relocate and all the crazy stuff happened to me in the States, but still desperate, yes, because things were happening that I didn't understand. I didn't know I was a target at the time. You know, when I had the crystals, I was still teaching. I hadn't tried to relocate off island, like I said, but things were happening, you know, and progressively getting worse. And so I ordered the crystals for spiritual protection, thinking that it would protect me from whatever I felt was on me or whatever I felt was trying to attack me. And what ended up happening was I did white magic unknowingly because owning those crystals is considered white magic. And I didn't learn that until I relocated off island, came back to island, downloaded the Return to Sender book, and read the Return to Sender book. And that was where I saw that crystals are used for protection and it's considered white magic. Similar to how salt is used for protection, it's considered a purifier, and it's also a form of white magic. So it's not used to hurt people, but it's used to protect yourself spiritually if you believe in witchcraft. And that's not good because then you're not believing the Mosai. It's almost like idolatry at that point. So that's what I was doing at the time, and I'm admitting it. So anyways, I've never done witchcraft. What's the word I was saying? Purposely or knowingly. But owning the crystals was me doing witchcraft. I don't know if me reading the Return to Sender book was me doing witchcraft. So if that's the case, then that was white magic as well. But I've never ever done a ritual. You know, I've never done a spell. I've never done direct witchcraft. Me owning the crystals, I did white magic. Me reading the Return to Sender book, I might have done white magic. You know, and I've already confessed that. I have no problem with admitting what I've done, and I've already repented for it too. So that's what I did. I looked into my birth chart, and then I also contacted 2 psychics. And they were not talking about a prophetic gift or the Bible. They were straight up using divination, and I knew that. I'm not faking the funk. I knew that they were straight up using divination. And at the time, I was looking into astrology, and I wanted answers. And I wanted somebody to be able to tell me if something was on me. So I emailed 2 psychics, and I just want to show you guys those messages and show you what they said. And again, this was at the end of last year. So this was before any allegations were on me. And actually, before I created any targeted individual videos on YouTube. That's very important, the timeline. All right, so let me show you guys. So that's the Lamar guy. So the first email I screenshot, the second one I'm going to have to actually go into my email address because it was too long to screenshot all of it. But I already have it pulled up. So this was the first email. It was this guy named Talal Zawabi. It's the office of Talal Zawabi. And so I said, hi, initially, no, first of all, let me make sure I show you guys the first message. So, no, that's not it. So initially I wrote him, excuse me, I'm so sorry for that, guys. I ate dinner before making this video. But initially, I wrote him on his website asking for a free reading. And he said, "Hi, Sharifa. Talal had a chance." Wait a minute. That's not the first thing. The first thing, hold on. Let me make sure I show y'all. There was another message between Talal and I. I'll look it up when I get into my email. But basically, he said, "Hi, Sharifa. Talal had a chance to look into your situation and sees there is something on one of your parents that is affecting you also. In order for him to give you more details, he would need to check them. If you wanted to check them, you would need to fill out two separate forms." And so, of course, I didn't pursue it because I knew that it was me having to send a picture of myself to him. And I didn't want to send a picture of my parents without consent to this man. You know, me doing it and dabbling in that is one thing, but I didn't want to include them in something that they didn't consent. And I knew that they would not consent to this. So I never answered him. But I did take into account what he said, right? So that was said. I don't know if what he said is even accurate or not, because again, these things are not good. The Bible says that you shouldn't be looking into divination. So I don't even know if what he said was accurate. I don't know if when these people look into these things, if what they're doing is wicked because they're not supposed to be dabbling into the spiritual realm, but they're really seeing accurate stuff, or if it's all lies. I don't know. But he did say that. That was what he said. Right? And then there was another psychic I spoke to, and that's where I'm going to go into my email address. Let me see where I'm at with the time. Dang, 55. It's another hour. I don't understand how these videos are so long. Like, I'd be trying, excuse me with the poor grammar, I'd be trying, but I really try hard not to, like over talk. It's just like I feel like I need to include all the details so that you're up to date and you know what I'm talking about before I show you the evidence. But it's like I have a tendency to sometimes over talk. And then I talk slow too because I'm trying not to stammer on my words. And so it's just like a nightmare. Anyways, I had the video pulled up, but as you can see, it looks like it reloaded. That's what was taking so long for it to load up. So let me pull it up again. It was energy healing. You can see it in my search history. I even typed in chakras because I remember they mentioned something about chakras. And again, let me reiterate, if you believe in that stuff, I have no problem with it. I'm not pushing my beliefs on you, but just saying that I personally don't believe in these things. This doesn't align with my spiritual belief, but at the time I was lacking faith, and these are the things that I was looking into. So this person was called Energy Healing. They're into energy, chakras, auras, all of that type of stuff. So initially I said, oh, so the reason why you're only seeing the message where they're answering me is because I messaged them on their website, and then this is where they emailed me. So that's what the case is with Talal Zawabi, and then also Energy Healing. So I'll message them on their website and then send them my email address, and then they email me a response. So this is what was said. "Hi, I am truly sorry to hear about your problem. I understand there is an urgency to have this solved, and I can begin my healing right away to help you. I can do a free reading for you. Please send me your picture and birth date so I can see what the issue is and help you solve it. Feel free to provide any details or specific information you want me to look into as well. I've been doing black magic removal, entity clearing, negative cord cutting, aura healing, protection, negative energy removal, health blessings, chakra healing, blessings for success, and full body healing for many years. I'm very experienced with this type of work, and unlike most places, I charge a very small fee to perform my healing services and restore life back to normal. I spend hours daily connecting to your energy to restore natural flow of light, raising vibrations, and I use angels to perform healing and begin blocking negativity and any magic." And by the way, guys, that was something I saw in the witchcraft book too. It seems to me like when people do, especially white magic, they use angels. It's weird. I don't even know if it's really angels or demons that they're using, because to me that seems oxymoronic. I don't want to offend anyone, because again, I know there are people with different belief systems out there. So if this is your understanding of truth, I don't want to offend you. So let me be careful with my words, because I do have a tendency to say things bluntly and offend people. But I'm just saying, I don't know if they're genuinely using angels when they're doing these things, or if it's, I don't know. But anyways, so I will also clear all the energy around your home and vehicles. I have many very happy clients and willing to help you if you let me. I offer a full healing service to heal mind, body, and soul. This includes aura healing, chakra balancing, and full restoration of your entire astral system to restore natural flow of light. This will include black magic removal too, because that was what I had asked about. I didn't ask about all the other stuff. Feel free to ask me any questions you may have. So then I said, hello, I have many questions, but I can wait until after the reading to ask them. Because I purposely didn't want to tell her what my suspicion was. With all of these psychics, I purposely didn't want to tell them that I suspected that my friend did witchcraft on me. Because then they might, if they're false, if they're not real, they might try to make the reading fit my narrative. And so I purposely didn't tell them what I suspected. And I just sent the picture to hear what they would tell me the reading was, to see if it aligned with what my suspicions were. So I never told this psychic, nor the other one, by the way, what my suspicions were. I literally just sent the picture, and I would always say I'm going to ask questions after, right? So I sent the picture. I don't need to click on the picture that I sent. And I said, upon checking your auric field, here are a few issues I am seeing. There is a lot of balancing and blockages on these chakras, root, sacral, and heart. They control many areas of life, happiness, mood, and success, as well as progress. If they are not operating properly, then life feels like it's not moving forward in the right direction. Aura colors are very low. I'm seeing many yellows, grays, and they should be shining as you are, usually a happy person. But right now, energy feels up and down due to drainage from bad energy. We need to heal 3 cords that I found are draining on you. One of them are male cords. You are very empathetic. You can feel other people's energy within yourself. And I've been saying that in all of my videos because they always say like I'm like a robot or a sociopath or I don't have emotions. But it's the contrary, quite the contrary. I do have a lot of emotions. And actually, I was just learning with ADD that we have something called, oh my goodness, I don't want to say the wrong thing. It's dysmorphic rejection. So it's like we have this fear of being rejected. And so it's to the point where we put a wall up, basically. One of these ADHD videos I just recently watched, I actually put the link to it in my alcoholism and ADHD parts 1 and part 2 videos. I put the link to it at the bottom of the links in the description box in the comment section. And it's titled, How ADHD Medication Affected Me. And I put the link to that video because it resonated with me so much. Everything this man said, even when he was talking about dysmorphic rejection. And so I did that dating and Asperger's video where I was discussing my dating life and my issues with commitment. And I felt like that part of the video is what was missing. That's the other part, the other missing link to why I think I have these dysfunctional relationships. And of course, I'm always at fault. But that was a big part of it. Anyways, but I do feel people's I am intuitive and I do feel other people's emotions. I've been saying that in my story. I did say that. So that's the funny part about it. Anyways, you are very empathetic. You can feel other people's energy within yourself and your intuition is very high. And also too, by the way, something I read was that people with social anxiety, the reason we have social anxiety is because we are intuitive and we can feel other people's energies. So when we step into a room, we can literally feel everyone's energy. And this is not me coming from no astrology standpoint. This is literally just me talking about, and anybody, there are Christians that talk about feeling energy. That is a real thing. That sixth sense, it really is a thing. Oh my gosh, I don't even want to use that number because of some of the things. You need to listen to my false accusations videos. I'm afraid, I just want to stay clear of that number. But literally that's what it's called. Let me just say that the extra sense, let me just say that, where they talk about the fact that you can feel people's emotions and stuff. It's a real thing. And I experienced that. I can feel other people's emotions. And they said people who have social anxiety are in tune with that. They're intuitive. And that's why we're empathetic. And so this is why we have social anxiety, because when we step in a room, we can feel everyone. And so that's why we feel anxious. That's what I heard. And it made sense to me when I read it. But anyways, they said you are empathetic, you can feel other people's energy within yourself, and your intuition is very high, but it's being blocked due to your chakras not operating properly. Now, the chakra thing I don't subscribe to, but that's what they said. I see evil eye is on you. Now, mind you, evil eye is black magic. I see evil eye is on you, meaning others are jealous and envious. Oh, never mind. I'm saying the wrong thing. Evil eye has something to do with black magic, though, from what I read. I'm getting it mixed up. That's to tell you, I don't really know about this stuff, but I did start looking into it heavily when I thought it was on me. But it is tied in with black magic, evil eye. So anyways, evil eye, I see evil eye on you, meaning others are jealous and envious. This needs to be fixed right away. I don't see any protection on you for spiritual bad energy. I see bad wishes done on you by someone. That's the black magic part. I see bad wishes done on you by someone who was close to you. They did not want you to succeed or be happy. This works as strong as a curse, as they cursed you from their heart. Black magic hex needs removal was done on you. And then they were saying they charge $3.99 for healing, all this as it's a lot of work. You can read my link below, see reviews, and order when ready to get me started. I also offer payment plans on link below. Now, of course, I didn't have the money. So she offers a free reading. And then if you want to ask her for help to get it off of you, you have to pay her. So, of course, I didn't have the money to pay her. So I just took the free reading. But yeah, that was crazy. And the fact that she offered the free reading, a lot of the other pages and psychics that I went to, they didn't offer free readings. You had to pay for everything. So she offers you, just to show you she's legit, a free reading, and then you can pay to get the stuff off of you. And of course, I didn't have the money to pay her. But it was literally her and Talal Zawabi. Those are the two psychics that I was able to find that offer free readings. And then you have to pay for them to get it off of you if you want them to get it off of you. I couldn't find anyone else. All of the other psychics were charging for their readings. So anyways, that was what I saw. And I was like, oh my God, that sounds just like what I went through. This is what I'm suspecting. It sounds just like what I suspected with the roommate. I could be wrong. Maybe it was someone else in my 20s and not even her, and I have the wrong person. But again, it's just all of the coincidences, those synchronicities that I'm not sure are really synchronicities. That was what keeps making me go back to her. She's not the person, because now I know what it's like to be falsely accused of something so heinous. It's horrible. It's terrible. So if she really isn't guilty, I am so sorry. But I never outright accused her, and I never took any actions towards my beliefs either. I never did anything to harm her because of my beliefs. So that's the difference. I would never, because I don't know for sure that she did this or not, I just suspected. And I've been saying that for years. I never said she did this. I said I suspect that she might have done this. This is what I said. I said I suspect. I never said straight up, she did this. I never did. I always kept saying I suspect, But with me, it's like more so like, it almost seems with the noise campaigns and the insinuations, like it's a hard accusing me. And I even felt like, like certain things happening to me and stuff. I'm just like, what? This is way different to what I did to her. Like with her, it's like I didn't even straight up accuse her, first of all. And I definitely didn't take any actions towards what I felt might have been happening. So that's the difference, But anyways, this just corroborates what I was saying, guys. This is just visual evidence for you to see what I was talking about, to corroborate my story. And so you can see, before I ever created any targeted individual videos, before there were ever any witchcraft accusations on me, I was talking about this stuff and I was looking into it innocently, thinking it was on me. So this is just visual documentation and evidence to corroborate what I said, and it just piggybacks. It's just a piggyback, off of my parts 1 and 2 disproving new allegations against me video. Anyway, let me close it up, guys, because this video was longer than I wanted it to be. I wanted this thing to be like 30 minutes, if that, me just showing y'all the evidence and saying a few words. And I ended up talking for so long because you don't understand with this program. I think you do understand if you're a target. What happens with the stimuli and the constant noise campaign and insinuations, it's like 24/7 covert harassment. I'm trying not to be negative or talk about that stuff. I'm trying to stay positive and talk about good things only. And this is why I've been trying to stay away from these types of videos. But this is the documentation video, and I just want you to understand why I can sit here and talk for hours about it, because for hours I'm dealing with it. So it's all pent up and I can talk about it for hours. But it's crazy. This is why when I get on camera and I mean to do like a 30-minute video, before I know it, a whole hour and a half has passed. But anyways, let me end the video. Where am I at? An hour and 7. That's actually not bad. That's not too bad. It's really not. So again, guys, thank you for tuning in. For those of you that have been subscribed and been following my journey, thank you for your support and thank you for tuning in. And for those of you that are new to my channel, like I said, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Talk with Sharifa. Please follow me on my journey. And leave comments and feedback if you can. Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to say to you guys real quickly. I just wanted to show you all that sometimes they do shadow ban my videos. So sometimes I'll get comments and I can't see them, and so I've had other targets comment sometimes and tell me that they've been trying to comment, and I won't see the comment until way after. I believe there was a target named Pablo that I was talking to recently that said that. And I've had other targets comment as well that said that, So I just wanted to let you all know that if you are commenting, sometimes they shadow ban my videos. And I said that, I didn't mean to click on that. I said that in my prior videos that got deleted. I even had a shadow banning video, but that was one of the videos that got deleted. But basically what shadow banning is if you're targeted A lot of your apps are hacked. And so your YouTube is even closely monitored. It's a surveillance 24/7 hour program. I said that very oddly, 24/7 hour surveillance program. And so all your apps are hacked. And so even your social media, typically anyone's social media is being surveilled anyway with the Patriot Act. But as a target, of course, they're honing in on you. And so oftentimes they can shadow ban your videos so they can make it so that people, when they comment, you can't see the comment. The comment won't show up. Or, your videos might not get as many views, or your videos might not get as many likes. You're just not able to communicate with people through your content, and it might not even reach as many people as you would like. And for me, my content is mainly for targeted individuals, but not only for Asperger's, ADD. It's just an informational video in general. This channel, it's an informational channel. It's a channel for me to express myself. You can say it's like a visual journal for me and a vlog website. It's a way for me to express myself. That's what this is. And it's also a way for me to connect with other people who are having similar experiences, whether that be Asperger's, ADD, targeting, or all three. That's what this channel is for. So it's not about the views and the likes. I don't care about that stuff. I never did. But it just sucks when you're being shadow banned and you can't even make those connections that you're trying to make. With me, it's in particular that happens where it's like that cutoff. I talk about the fact that they're even able to turn targets against me because of some of the offensive things that I said in the height of my targeting. One of the things that made my targeting go viral was some of the extremely offensive content I shared. And it was reactive abuse, me reacting to what was happening to me. So this is why in my videos, I clearly make sure to express what happened. I give evidence. I talk about what I really believe from what I don't believe. So this is why I do that. But anyways, the video is getting too long. I just want to quickly show you guys that I'm genuinely not ignoring your comments. Like this video, Harvard scientist exposes CIA mind control. You can see there says 8 comments, right? You see it says 8 comments and 8 likes. But when I click on it, hello, welcome back to my channel. I can only see my pinned comment, this comment from Johnny Caps, and then my reply to him. So literally only 3 comments are showing, even though 8 comments are present. So that's a way that they can shadow ban, where you're not able to see all of your comments. And something I learned was that you can download YouTube Studio. I talked about this, like I said, in one of my videos that got deleted. But you can download YouTube Studio and see some of the hidden comments, but not always. Like that video that I just showed you, none of those hidden comments are showing up in YouTube Studio. So sometimes it's just a loss where you can't access those comments. But sometimes I notice that the comments that they're hiding will show up in YouTube Studio. So that's just a little tip if you're a target and you're getting shadow banned. Anyways, that's it, guys. I just wanted to share that information, that documentation, pop in, check in with you guys. That's it. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Thank you for tuning in. Peace out. Sorry, I'm having issues with stopping the video, guys. Hold on one second. All right, peace out.